Final edition of Inside the Game here this week on the National Soccer Network. Nate Wangler and Ryan Glinsky, as we say, welcome back in here for this Friday edition of the show. We got a fun show coming up today. This is probably the most fun I've ever had on this show the last couple of episodes, and today is a big one for
the other one sucked.
A couple of reasons. Oh, they sucked. They sucked bad, but it's okay. It doesn't suck now, so it's all right. No, I'm kidding.
I feel like we should not say that while someone is here.
Someone's out here, but for a couple of reasons, right? Number one, very special video we saw released yesterday by the Detroit Tigers as they started their season. We'll talk more about that as we go here, but big shouts for our Inside the Game podcast. We were up there with a couple of other big time shows in that video, so we'll certainly wax poetic about that coming up a little bit later on in the show. But for another big reason, right, there's kind of like the two big reasons why today is massive for not only Inside the Game but also the National Soccer Network. And for the other big reason, apparently the biggest news in our company's history, we welcome in the man himself, Jonathan Turner, to talk a little bit about that. What's up, boss man? Welcome back on.
Good morning. Yeah, it is.
How are you?
I am really well. I'm really well. It's been 5 years in the making, right? And so, if I look back at kind of our trajectory, it was actually Neil Rule who introduced me to Costa at Flint City Bucks back in 2021, and I had a chance to call a game up there, and I looked at kind of like their production setup, and Costa and I had a conversation. Said, "Hey man, if you ever want to upgrade or elevate your game a little differently, I would love to be able to have a conversation about that." And we spent some time over that winter and kind of developing our game plan and signed a contract back with them then. And that led us to a conversation with the league, USL2, to from what we were doing, they were asking questions about how we'd run broadcasts and things like that. And I met Joel Nash, I met Chris Inman, Benji joined them last year, and I am proud to announce that Premier Media Group, we have secured the distribution of the entire USL2 and USLW for the 2026 season. And so what that means for us and means for the fans of the game is that we have the opportunity to make sure that every single broadcast nationwide for USL2 and USLW will run through our studios here in Michigan, and we will make sure that they end up at their final destination on Sports Engine Play, a great partnership that the league has with them. And we are I just cannot tell you how exciting this is. We have the full control of output from the league, and they have entrusted us with this opportunity.
Yeah, and I think the other part of it is, too, with being, obviously with Ryan and, thanks. Got the horn in there. With both of us, calling games for your company and being involved in all the different things that we do, I think it's worth noting that while we're on the rise and our company continues to build and we cover more games, same thing with the USL. They continue to get more popular and add more teams and add more fans. Feels like there's kind of been this growth together in a way, like a parallel growth in some ways. How have you felt that relationship develop over the course of those years? Because it has been a long time, as you mentioned, but I felt like it was always kind of heading that way at some point.
The USL is by and large, I think, the best amateur ecosystem in the country. There are a lot of leagues out there, but they are the largest and I think the most influential in the soccer space. And then you start talking about the professional levels as well within the Championship League One, the Gainsbridge Super League, and then the new Premier League coming here in 2028. Their ecosystem from top to bottom is the best in the entire country. And so, I don't think there's anything even close in there. And we work with a lot of leagues, and that's not saying that there's anything negative about that. But I think it's important to say that when we talk with teams, and we've had a chance to talk with almost 50 teams so far, this is in the last 10 days, as our contract was signed here last week, the teams are very receptive, more receptive than the leagues that we've worked with in the past, because I think the communication between the league and its teams is just second to none. And so they do a fantastic job. They're again led by Chris Inman and Joel Nash, Benji Mendoza, And you're absolutely correct. The league is always about trying to elevate and create additional exposure, but more importantly, hold themselves to a high standard. And in order to do that, you have to have things in place, processes, workflows, things like that, and partnerships that make sense that can help elevate the game. And the USL is a very forward-thinking league, and they have done just that.
John, you said it took 5 years to get to this point. What are some of the hurdles that you had to overcome, and how great does it feel to 5 years of the making to finally get something done as massive as this?
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, I was trying to get down to Tampa, and I think I kind of talked about this back during one of our shows back in November. I'm like, hey, I'm heading to Tampa, and I was down there. I went and watched the U.S. men's national team play. And so I was there for this purpose. I was there meeting with all the leadership at USL, going through and presenting why we think this is our opportunity. And then, for the next, 2 or 3 months, we were working behind the scenes to get this approved and get this over the goal line. And so it's fantastic. Like I said, I have a great relationship with the league. Our company does, and we were obviously honored last year, handling the USL 2 and W playoffs here through our ecosystem as well, and that created what we believe to be the foundation for this decision. And we are extremely excited about this opportunity, and the fans of the game should be as too, because every time we talk with a team, we're like, hey, what are you doing right now to stream your games? How can we help you? We're answering these most important questions to ultimately deliver a quality product where people can watch the game and do so without, I guess, that fear or that being weary about whether or not the game will actually be a good quality game to watch just because of streaming. And so we are working on that with every single team in this country. And again, just super excited about this chance.
And the way we're going about it, too, is I call it unique, but it's not necessarily unique. It's something that a lot of different companies are starting to employ, and that's remote broadcasts and the capabilities that come with that and being able to cover as many games as we want to. And obviously, you've talked about that. Talk a little bit about that technology and what that looks like and how that provides opportunities for teams, because I think sometimes people, it's still a newer concept. They see a team pop into a city, they figure it's someone just down the road that might end up going to the stadium to call games or be there. But the remote opportunity, I think, provides a lot for not only us, but I think the USL sees the potential in what we do in that regard. Just tell the people a little bit about what we do in that way.
I think it's important to acknowledge that leagues across this country have, for the most part, encouraged live streaming, right? Some teams have made it mandatory, right? And so you're asking a team that has no experience in the world of streaming to find a local partner that can actually deliver on the promise of delivering a stream, out to the world, right? And so what's the fail-safe, or what's the fallback if you don't have a partner? Well, AI technology is all around us, right? You've got AI cameras coming out of every possible, I guess, corner of the world right now. Veo and Huddle and Spideos and all these different cameras and all these different technologies. And so the league has partnered with Spideo. Spideo is a great AI camera. I consider it one of the best cameras on the market, and there are obviously good and bad about every camera, but the Spideo camera is one of the best. And so they've partnered with them, and so teams can purchase that camera, and then it's so seamlessly works within our system and our ecosystem as well. But then more importantly, again, the reality is that these teams, they have these cameras, they stick them up in the sky, but that's all they really do. I mean, there are some components of keeping score, and there are some that have some graphics. But in order to deliver, commentary, instant replay, all the things that you're used to watching on a high level broadcast on ESPN or the likes, those are hard to come by, and you need someone professional who has experience to pull that off. And we do that like 4,000 times a year now, right? And so it's a perfect partnership where, hey, if you already have a production, fantastic. We're here great. We'll receive that feed. We'll make sure it gets the sports engine. We'll provide you the support you need. And in the event you have an emergency, we can help out in a pinch. But the teams that have AI cameras, which is about 30 to 35% of the league, we can help them with a broadcast that you're looking at right now on your screen. Now, granted, this is a camera. This is Ballard FC from last year. I mean, it's in Ballard at
Minneapolis versus
at
Flint.
Interbay Stadium, right? But they're playing Minneapolis. But this is a game that was obviously manned camera operators and using camera personnel. But we can slide in any situation and provide this level of content or a level of viewer broadcast. That makes the game much more appealing and engaging and entertaining for the fan, the viewer, or even the team who's watching. And so that's what we're able to provide to these teams. And we have, I think, at this point, it's safe to say we're going to probably have close to 20 to 25 of the teams right now will be using our remote production technology and commentary in order to enhance their broadcasts.
John, if you could describe for the soccer fan that just loves watching soccer, or fans of USL2, USLW teams, if you could describe a national soccer network in just a national soccer network fully produced broadcast in just a couple of words, how would you describe it?
Consistent, clean, and professional. I think those are the three words that I would use to describe it. And the last one is entertaining. We talk about this a lot with our broadcasters. I do games on ESPN, and I have to follow kind of a certain acumen. As much as I want to be my personality, I really can't be that on those in those environments. But in these games, I can absolutely be a little bit different and more entertaining, more engaging. Asking questions of the audience, and more importantly, I think educating. And so when you're listening or watching one of our broadcasts, you're going to see kind of the same assets. You're going to see the score bug. You're going to see standings. You're going to see a ticker at the bottom of the screen. You're going to see matches. You're going to see instant replay, right? You're going to see commercials. Our broadcasts look the same, whether you're looking at a youth game at the USL Academy all the way up to the Major Arena Soccer League broadcasts that are happening across this country. And so we keep it the same, and we do that on purpose because we believe the game deserves it. And so does the league, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, you talked about the professionalism of USL, and I do think that is one thing that kind of stands out about that league, maybe in comparisons to some of the others, not that we want to compare league for league, but we've seen that in our area with Midwest United, obviously with Flint City. Just their organization is something that I think has really impressed a lot of people. How much has that impressed you in terms of getting the logistics set up and making sure that everything's ready to go? Because that's not an easy thing to do with a league that has as many teams and as many needs to stream as the USL does, because it's a very big league. So their organization has been impressive. How's that helped out with the logistics side of things?
Tremendously. When the league is the one instigating the conversation with the teams, it makes the buy-in that much easier for us when we're going down the road to have conversations. And we, in the 50 or so conversations we've had with teams so far, we still have 200 to go. There's 250 plus teams between the two leagues. And so we still have a lot of conversations to have. We're having right now an average 13 to 14 meetings a day. And so so thank goodness I'm no longer on this show because I don't think I'd be able to do this. But
John would be doing interviews during the actual podcast.
Yeah. So we're doing these conversations, a lot now. And so that it's very important to have that league buy-in. And so they're supporting us every step of the way. And hey, in a league this large, you know that there are teams out there that I'm sure probably are, in any example, would probably be like, hey, I wish we had more of this, or I had less of this, or whatever the case might be. This league is as professional as you can get. Right. And again, when you have a professional arm already in your league or in your ecosystem, and you not only have one, but you now have 3, right? Mm-hmm. And so 4 leagues that you're going to have in professional ranks here in the coming years, it just makes a tremendous difference in how you treat the teams all the way down, even at the USL Academy level. Like we met with a team yesterday, and Ryan and I had a chance to call this game last year, but in December, AC Connecticut and Indy 11 in the USL Academy Finals, right? We had a chance to call those two teams, and AC Connecticut saw what we could do during those broadcasts, and as a result of what we could do during those broadcasts, we're like, hey, we want you to do all of our USL Academy, USL2, and USLW games for the 2026 year. And so contract, getting it signed, and we'll handle their entire USL ecosystem as part of our agreement. And so things like that are what's really cool about this whole process. And again, I can't thank, Joel Nash and Chris Inman and Benjamin Doze for helping us get this thing over the goal line. It was a full team effort. And, again, we are in charge of 1,506 regular season games, and we'll be in charge of an additional 48 playoff games and the USL Academy here coming up in December.
Yeah, John, I don't know if I could do 1,000 horn sounds, but there you go. Any other personal shout-outs you would like to give to anyone that has helped you get this process over the line?
Well, I think it's important to thank you guys, because again, if I didn't step away in December, if I didn't step away from the show in December, it would have been very difficult for me to continue to try to put these things in place, right? And I think it's also important to state that I'm USL and USL2. I'm having meetings with every league in the country, so it's not like I only went after USL2, right? We are going after every league in the country because we believe we can provide them, the assurances and most importantly, the support that these teams need, because there's a gap between the destination and ultimately the team, right? And the league is somewhere in the middle of there, and we can provide that service to the league. That's what we do with the Major League Indoor Soccer. It led us to being in charge of all distribution for the entire league for both men's and women's. And now we have the honor of covering the finals here this weekend. And, Ryan, we've been putting a lot of work and effort in behind the scenes to be able to pull this off this weekend. And we're really excited about that. And so, everybody, our business partners, the support that they've been able to have in helping us get this over the goal line. I mean, every deal we've done over the last 4 years has put us in a position to be able to handle this, right? And everything that we've done in the previous years has also taught us where we can and cannot find success, and then working in where we're weak and trying to find strengths. And so all of that has helped us get to where we are. And so I also think it's important to say thank you to my family too, right? I mean, I have an unbelievable family. My kids are also part of this process. My wife is, she's in the room right now. She's actually right now, we have purchased a press, and right now she is heat transferring, whatever you want to call it, but like onto our polo shirts for this weekend. And we wanted to bring this in-house because we send it out and it's super expensive. But if I have something I want to press real quick, I can do that now. We have a machine here in the studio. And so she's literally right now pressing labels onto our shirts, and we'll be able to provide that to our hopefully customers if they want any of our merch as well. And so, but yeah, I want to thank everybody. This has been a team effort. Every commentator, any producer, camera operator that we've had over the last 4 or 5 years helped us get here.
DoorDash or anyone that's dropped off food.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That one guy that let me in the door that one day, that was pretty clutch. That guy made a difference for sure.
Well, it takes a lot of people, right? I mean, they say it takes a village to raise a child, right? I mean, it takes a lot of people to do what you're doing, right? And we need a lot of people to help us get to where we're going. And then the relationships that you along the way, right, that you cultivate, production companies and commentators and all these different people across the country who have similar ideas of what they want to do. All that's led to here. And so, yeah, I mean, we're just super excited about this opportunity, and we're super excited about the chance to be able to help deliver high quality broadcasts for the league in the 2026 season. And couldn't be happier. There's more about this partnership that we'll announce.
Yeah.
That's, I think, is exciting to talk about. We're just working through some of the logistics of that, but stay tuned for that as we get rolling. So
we're getting some merch then, is what you're telling me. We're getting some.
Yeah,
merch.
I think for the longest time, I kind of, we obviously you're wearing an MSN polo shirt, and when we first started,
this is my favorite shirt. I was telling Ryan, this has been my favorite shirt for the last 2 years.
He thought Nike made it.
Well, if you want, I mean, Bianca's making shirts right now. I can have her bring one over. Bianca maybe should bring one over.
It depends what shirt we're looking at, though. At the same time,
Look at that, man. And see, this is fantastic.
Is this
right?
is
So,
this a practice one or is this not a practice
no,
one?
this is
Oh,
legit.
did you already-
Oh,
This is
okay.
it. Yeah, right there.
Hey. Yeah,
Yep.
that looks like the
So-
same material too. So yes, absolutely. I get
So,
one
yeah,
of
so-
those. But yeah, to anybody listening here today, it is good. It is good stuff. I still have this one. I also have. I think you gave me a sweatshirt too, like a hoodie or something. You gave me like
Yeah.
3 different things. But yeah, I'm still holding on to all of them. So yeah, just throwing it out there. It's good material.
Well, the cool thing is, if next time you're in town, you just bring it all back, and we can put another logo next to it on the other side, right? So you could have NSN and MSN on the same shirt. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, I just
Maybe-
won't be wearing a
Okay.
hat, John. I'm just not wearing an NSN hat.
But I think go back
Mesh
to
back.
like the whole merch thing is that, like, one, I was talking about this with somebody the other day, and I'm like, you know, I think we even talked about it, like to walk around wearing like, you know, a logo that has like NBC on it. I don't know how many people are going to get excited about that. Now, if you go,
Makes
and
you look
happen to
official. Makes you look official.
Well, yeah, I meant like the obviously there's
The
stuff
casual,
that we wear,
yeah.
that we would wear,
Right.
but the stuff that like
Right.
an actual viewer fan that would want to watch what we're
Right.
doing, they want to walk around wearing, you know, one of your logos, and I find it highly unlikely that people would just want to walk around wearing our logo. And so trying to find merch and things that would be appealing but could also be branding for us is something that we have to continue to work on. And I think the other part of this too is that before we started to go out and really start to give everybody gear on our platform, on our network, we just wanted to make sure that we could figure out a way to make it affordable without breaking the bank for our for us, and obviously for our air talent and people that work for us. And so this will solve those problems.
John,
Yep.
just a couple more practice runs until I bring some of my own polos over, and you can put the logo. I need a couple more practice runs.
Well, we're not a printing company, right? I think it's important to acknowledge that. So this is all self.
So we are not liable for any of the mistakes.
Well, no, I think what's important is that, like, I did not go to broadcasting school to learn how to do all this, right? This is all self-taught. This is me spending the last 5 years failing forward every step of the way to get to the point now where we are, right? And every day we're still learning new things. And so whatever that might be, and I would encourage, I don't care where you are in your walk in this world, but I would encourage everybody to always be failing forward, right? Or you're trying something and hopefully you're finding a new way or evolving it and making it better, right? And so we do that here every single day. And why would it be any different in regards to this process? Bianca is learning, right? We will learn how to print and press these shirts the right way and do it so we continue to get better at it. And then we can keep doing and adding new things down the road so that we can do it here in house. And that to me, I think is, you know, the most important thing. Because even like our partners, like what's going to say that the MLAS says, hey, we want a logoed shirt. Well, send me the shirts. You know, and now I can do it for them right here in our space, right? And so they didn't do that, but but that's a perfect example, right? When we like, hey, send me your shirts, we will print them, we will get it done.
Real quick, when you started this whole thing, did you ever think that it would get to this level?
I mean, no. I mean, once we started getting rolling, I think yes. But no, when I first started doing this, I mean, if you ever go watch our first broadcast, it's still on our YouTube channel. It is the worst broadcast you could have ever done, like ever.
What was it called?
It was like Rebels FC, like whatever. Rebels FC, like it's like literally like May 21st, like 2021.
Rebels FC Inter Squad Women's Match live pregame at 8:30. 156 views.
What was the date though?
I gotta click on it. It says 4 years ago.
Yeah.
The date.
It's like May something.
Oh, this was Saturday, May 22nd.
22nd. I was off by a day.
2021. This was
That's pretty impressive.
versus Grand Haven. Rebels FC women's team will take on Rebel FC in this preseason match. Oh, leading up to their
So you should put it on the screen and show the world, man. It is not. It's not good. Like I brought my iMac like with my Shure microphone. I had no idea what I was doing. I had never called a game in my entire life, and so everything I'm doing is based off of what I think you should do. And to be fair, I still do that a lot, but it's way more. It's way better now. But it was not good. and I can sit here and say that, but if you watch like that first year and kind of watch how we just every broadcast just is a little better, a little better, a little better. We were filming these games our first year on iPads.
Looks like Oakland.
Yeah.
It was Oakland, yeah. See,
Yeah.
there's no score.
Yeah. Well, so
Yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
it was,
the camera's probably not
Focused.
the greatest. At least you're there, so yeah. I mean, you can see everybody that's out there. So that's
Yeah, this is played
That's,
at the Oakland field. Right.
it was,
behind-
yeah,
Right by
that's funny.
the arena.
yeah. That was our first ever game.
How'd you get
broadcast.
to do that one?
That's
How'd you get to do
crazy.
the first game?
So right before, I left and resigned from Groves High School Soccer as a varsity coach in fall of 2019, and so that was my last season. 5 years in, as I said before, it was just I was done with coaching. Just didn't have that passion anymore. And one of our assistant coaches, who was a part of our program, had this adult women's team and men's team called the Rebels, and he had contacted me in 21 and said, "Hey, I know you're doing a lot of podcasting stuff. Would you have any interest in coming out and doing, live streaming our soccer games?" And I said, "Sure." I mean, full disclosure, I've never done it. I'll do it. And I immediately started to figure out what the shortcomings are going to be, and then we worked our magic from there, right? And so, we've done, since that game, we've done 5,000 broadcasts, right? So, but yeah, it's just crazy, right? Because all of those things, right? Had Neil Rule not been called away, I think for Woodward Sports Network back in 2021, I wouldn't have been asked to call that men's soccer game in that period.
We can thank Woodward Sports for a lot of things.
I mean, we can. Yeah, I mean,
The earth,
I'm not
the
saying I'm going to
sun,
think Woodward. I'm just saying we could just say,
nutrients we
but-
need to survive.
But
Of
had he
course.
not gotten called away, I wouldn't have gotten asked to do that game. I wouldn't have become a staff broadcaster there. I wouldn't have been in the chairs that I'm currently in there, and it would have never created the door that we opened in order to get the broadcasting and production at Oakland, right? And so, like, everything that we've done, that's why we always talk about this too when it comes to commentary and on-air talent, is it's not always about what you know, it's about who you know, right? Getting that phone call or getting that opportunity, right? How many times, have we missed out on something because somebody else knew someone more than we did, right? And maybe we were the second or the third phone call, right? And so, in that example, I was the first phone call. And what it led to us. And so all those things have led to this moment. And I am extremely grateful for the opportunity. But this is an amazing opportunity for us here at Premier Media Group and the National Soccer Network. We will be adding a weekly segment in about USL2 and USLW on your guys' show here coming up starting here in May. And we'll highlight players and coaches and talk about the games. We will have highlights from a number of those games to showcase here on the platform, and we're excited about what's coming next year with League Two and W.
Good stuff, boss man. We appreciate you stopping by, and we're excited too. I think from Ryan and I's perspective, being able to call those games and really highlight a league that I think is on the rise, and USL2 is fun, and it's been fun the last couple of years. So appreciate you dropping by, and we look forward to those updates as they come.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. We still have a huge NIL announcement that we'll be probably making here in a couple of days as well. So more news is coming. So don't worry about there being any shortcomings in that regard. We'll keep announcing these things as we get them signed, and you guys have a great rest of your show. And by the way, congratulations to you guys on being again in that hype video for the Tigers. I don't think you can understate or overstate how important that is for us as a network, and most importantly, what it means. And the company that you're in, 97 won the ticket, right? We're Major League Baseball Radio, I think, was in there too, right? I mean, you have,
and then there's Little Sports Nation.
Yeah, and here we are, right? And so it's like, which is awesome, and I think that's also a testament to you, Nathan, too, right? Because of your affiliation with the Whitecaps, right? You've seen this player, you've seen what this player can do in person, and obviously the Tigers, they trust what you have to say because you're a part of their system, and so we obviously are a benefactor of that. But I just want to say that's congratulations. That's awesome that you guys had that as part of the Tigers hype video, which what their account has, what, 1.2 million followers?
Yeah,
Less than
1.2 or 1.3. It's something like that. I don't know what it is on IG. I know that's what it is on Twitter, at least from what I was seeing. But
Tigers
no,
got 1.1 on Instagram.
yeah. So I think altogether 2.4 between the two, Twitter and IG. So yeah, no, I appreciate that. And yeah, I knew he was the truth from the first time I saw him, but I think it's been fun to get into some of the local stuff more on this podcast because I think people have really kind of gravitated towards it. So just going to keep at it, keep doing our thing. But once again, appreciate you stopping by, and again, looking forward to talking to you in the future. Probably an hour and some change from now.
Yeah, John, I look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, in about about 10 minutes.
All right, get back to work, you two.
All right, okay, all right. See you, JT.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Let's tell you. Yeah, we got to go. We got Tanner White coming on. Indoor Insights with Tanner White on the other side. First, FC Bayern summer soccer camps are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, FC Bayern camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Select your city and start a promising soccer path. And right now, save $30 on registration by using promo code BayernNSN30. Again, that's BayernNSN30. Or scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more at fcbayernyouth.com.
So the dream behind Irene's was simply to be a place where the community could come and gather. This is my hometown, we're raising our family here, and we just want to be a space where people can come together as a community and share a great meal. We've got golf simulators, we got pinball, live music, trivia nights, but we also have fresh, always homemade, locally sourced food, and we serve it with a sense of Gemütlichkeit. This is a German word that conveys a sense of warmth and coziness and belonging. We're excited to show off how we're growing and that this is the place to be.
It's that time of the week again, Friday. Indoor Insights with Tanner White on the eve of Championship Saturday in Major League Indoor Soccer and Women's Major League Indoor Soccer. We welcome in one the only Tanner White here on Inside the Game. What's up, brother?
Thanks so much, guys.
Well,
one more sleep until Vegas.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Wait
crazy?
until your trip to Shelby Township.
Yeah, don't remind me. I'd rather be on a plane, frankly.
Yeah,
exciting stuff coming up, though, man. I'll just start off with this. What are you most excited about here? Getting ready as you got one more sleep to go until it is Championship Saturday.
Yeah, I think as always that we've been saying this whole season, we're excited most for the on-field products. Salt Lake City on both sides has just been so hot. Amarillo and Toronto, best two defensive clubs in MLIS, and there's a chance, that they could meet. Everybody knows what the Cleveland Crunch have been doing on the men's side. Fort Wayne on the women's side had to absolutely scrap and claw their way and beat Chicago for the very first time that anybody's ever done that to get in. You know what Chicago does and what their expectation is on the women's side, and they know it too. Yeah, Phoenix, the newcomers, lots of young guns over there and great players. They can score a ton. They can get up and down the fields. The on-field product and the level of competition is the number one thing I'm excited about.
Tanner, talking with all different coaches this week, you have a lot of them have mentioned travel in just about every single interview. How big of a factor do you think that is going to be? Because some teams can drive to Vegas, some teams are flying, some teams are the players are flying separately than the team, and they're arriving at different times. How much of a factor do you think travel will play this weekend?
I think it's bigger than most realize. Phoenix is able to drive, and I was talking with Allie Moon, the owner, last night, and she said, yeah, it's about 4.5 for us. I thought, wait a minute. You're telling me you could get up whenever you want? You get up at noon, drive there, be in time? Like, what's going on here? Allie, we had a fun laugh about that. And I was like, that can't be right. And then I mapped it, and I said, well, maybe it is. And then you compare that to a Toronto, and Luigi DeCirio, the owner, is telling us, well, yeah, actually, some of our flights are delayed, and some of our staff is going to get in there pretty late, and we all wanted to leave on Thursday. Now it looks like that's not really going to happen. And the insanity of just what even a flight path from, Toronto and however many layovers you got to get all the way to Vegas is probably at some point going to affect them, whether they want to admit it or not. I know Amarillo was already there getting a training session in on Thursday. That's probably a big bump to them, and they can probably take another one today. Why wouldn't you if you've already been there and it's likely to be that the defending champs are going to have some of the biggest advantage from already being there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, building off of that. Just I guess I don't know if I'm asking it maybe on a deeper level or more specific level, but when it comes to, because we've seen what's going on with TSA and at airports and wait times and all of that stuff that's kind of happening right now. So I imagine moving an entire team of people through the airport would be a difficult thing to do. Have you run into any logistical concerns when it comes to that specifically?
That's more of a team owners and managers kind of question a little bit. Like I say, Toronto has had flights delayed, and I don't know that that's it might be partly a weather thing. You know what I mean? Where
it could be
again, as we were talking
just
with
note here
yesterday,
today.
he said, "Yeah, right." I mean, it's unenviable for many of us. The further north you get, probably the worse it is. But
oh boy.
Okay, Toronto was able to drive. That's in that of the MLIS is really going to benefit from it. I don't expect too much issues with anybody else coming anywhere else. Fingers crossed.
That's fair.
Tanner, we talked about last weekend. There's playoff spots up for grabs. Fort Wayne grabs the last spot in the Eastern Conference in the WMLIS, and they had a tall task of doing that against Chicago, but they get the very important victory. How much of a shock was it to see the Chicago Mustangs, who haven't lost all year, lose their first game of the season? And I believe that's the history of WMLIS. They've never lost a game up until last weekend, correct?
Yeah, you bet. So I would have been shocked until I started to see the ultra instinct kind of mode that the goalkeeper for Fort Wayne, Carmen Swigard, got into. That match before, back on March 15th, when she sets that single game save record, 33 of them, and is just spider monkey everywhere, all parts of the goal, and just she is the one that willed that team to the shootout, which allowed them to even advance to that final weekend and play that last match. I said, hey, there's a chance here. I said, this is the number one team that can shake things up. I said they're playing well when they're playing to their style, and their coaching staff let us in on the fact that, well, our keeper there, Swigard, using her feet more and more and sending all these balls long and putting it in the box and just seeing what happens. That's made us go. We go as she goes, and she's got 4 assists in the last 3 games too. I don't think that that's any kind of coincidence. I saw that, Chicago had submitted the roster, and I thought we know that it's logistically tough for them, and they had to play at 8 a.m. in Fort Wayne, and they traveled in different groups. Not everybody showed up at the same time. Some drove even morning of, so you would have had to get up at, in the middle of the night to go over there. I thought, this could happen, folks. This is serious. This is real.
Yeah.
And people didn't want to listen to me. This is one of those things, right, where I want to be the first to note. People didn't want to listen to me, and I said, there's a real chance here that Fort Wayne wins this, that they knock New Jersey out, and on the very last day of the season that they get in, they did it.
Well, I mean, along those same lines, you've made some predictions on this show as well. So clearly you're just predicting the future over here. And one of those things that you did was you talked glowingly about Salt Lake City. You mentioned how they were kind of like your quote unquote dark horse coming into the postseason, but I don't know how much of a dark horse they are, because they've shown us in several ways that they're a team that could easily make a run and go out and win a championship. I'm assuming your opinion has remained unchanged when you look at them and the way they've been playing lately.
I'm glad you said that, because the answer is actually it's changed a lot. We had
Really?
a really interesting pre-production meeting with the Salt Lake City ownership. And on the women's side, we expect that they'll dominate, right? They're just built that way, and they're so deep. On the men's side, they got as hot as anybody in, you can't even say the final half. It was really the final 2/3 or so of the season where that club was practically unbeatable. Now you're down your top 3 scorers. As we saw the lineup that they turned in for Las Vegas, I said, whoa, this is a big change. We had to talk to their ownership, and as we start to really hear that, they're super shorthanded, and they got all these guys with other playing commitments, other places. These guys are, for the most part, between Steve Jasso, between Leo Sobrera, Guy LeMay, I think, is also a guy that's going to be out. Chris Reyes. This is most of their top-line guys that are unavailable for, what would be some of their biggest matches. And it's a really tough Toronto matchup, too, that it's a chance that on the men's side they're going home early. On the women's side, of course, they have undeniably the best chance to get all the way through and to hoist that trophy. But on the men's side, it's not a good draw for them, and it's not great circumstances.
Tanner, I'm really interested this weekend to see different styles of play on all these different teams. Some teams really try to kind of bring the outdoor game into the indoor game, keeping possession, not really use the boards, but some teams really like to play quote unquote indoor soccer. Some teams like to just run and gun. What do you think the style is that teams are going to have to play in order to win this weekend, win it all, and even just advance and win some games? What style do you think would fits the best this weekend? Men's and women's.
Sure. The size of the field is always of consideration. Your rotations and hitting your substitutions on time, that's a big consideration. I think keepers on attack is going to be a huge X factor. There's some really great ones doing it. Mateus Lucas on the Salt Lake City side, that guy got really hot at the end of the year, and Michael McNeil, the owner, told us a real funny story. He said, we got a couple goals dropped on us by an Amarillo keeper, and Fredo Chavez, a fantastic keeper over there with Amarillo. But he said, so Mateus, what's going on? How come you aren't scoring goals for us, right? If you get scored on, you got to kind of get some of those back in blood, right? And then the guy naturally went and dropped 6 goals in, the second half of the season and became a crucial part of the attack too, right? Carmen Swigard yet to score a goal with Fort Wayne, but again has 4 assists in the last 3 games. Philip Zendelik, I've been telling you that guy would be a first-team striker if he were just a striker, and he happens to also be the defending keeper of the year on the MLIS side. I think that is an X factor. And so you want to talk about playing indoor soccer, having a goalkeeper with, even a futsal background. Layla Mojtahedi is the reserve keeper for Fort Wayne, and she is a U.S. futsal youth captain, and that could factor in. If you really want to say what if something happens to Swigard and they have to make a change? Well, then you'd be happy to have kind of a futsal keeper, as it were. I bet that factors in, and I'm willing to bet on a keeper somewhere scoring a big one late in the game.
It's always interesting to see because I think leagues adopt, once one team adopts a certain style that works, everybody else kind of follows suit and they all want to do the same exact thing because they see how effective it is. We've seen that before. Do you see everybody kind of starting to adopt the same style as you go? Because it seems like it's the most effective to have a versatile goalie like you were talking about.
Sometimes, but it does come down more to roster construction and exactly what your players and your top players are used to doing and
Yep,
what they
okay.
see out there. Every team has told us that they can adapt to what other teams are doing. And
Right.
everybody's watching the film. They're all heads deep in it. Hopefully not as deep as I am. I was like, guys, if you do that, that's going to be bad for your eyes. You know what I mean? However, there is a right play style for the most part for whatever group that you have. You figure that out as the season goes on, and you alter it, you tailor it. Fort Wayne's a great example where Swigard, the keeper, really wanted to play higher and higher, and she said, well, at some point, I kind of want to get some minutes in the field here. I think I could score a few, and maybe we can rotate our reserve keepers through, and then she ends up being, I don't think there's a huge debate in this, ends up being the most important keeper to a team's success and really kept that team in it in the second half of the year and got them into the playoffs by becoming part of that attack and just sending balls long on target, usually into the box, and giving somebody a great scoring chance. That is, it's a huge adaptation that team had to make, and it got them into Las Vegas. I bet some people have a few wrinkles, but for the most part, you should probably stick with what got you there because you've developed it for a full season.
Yeah.
Tanner, what do you want? Obviously, you're involved heavily with the league. What do you want first-time viewers this weekend and even just the long-term fans? What do you want them to see this weekend in the semifinals and the finals on both sides?
Man, I think if I had one wish, it's still every single match being competitive and being incredibly exciting like we've come to expect. We've gotten it. Last year was an unbelievable example. Men's final, Amarillo is, they go up 3 in OT because we didn't have the golden goals. And it was just, everybody's just jaws are dropped by the time we got there, and Cleveland was kind of out of gas, and they had injuries coming in. And they always expect that they're going to be in that championship weekend, and they've told us that a ton. And then Amarillo comes and just shells them in OT, and we recoil, and we're like, this is amazing. This is unbelievable what they're doing. And on the women's side, it was one of the most back and forth, amazing, epic fourth quarters that we've ever seen. And it was an 8-7 game, and there was, 45 seconds plus for Fort Wayne to get possession back at the very end. Didn't end up putting up a shot, but they pushed Chicago at the time as far as anybody had ever pushed them. And that game could have gone to overtime. And we could have had 2 overtime finals at once with these teams that maybe you wouldn't have thought it should be that close, and maybe you wouldn't have thought it'd be that action-packed. And then it just, what unfolded in front of our eyes, it was magical in Cleveland. I think if it's going to be better, Las Vegas is the place for it to be better. The lights are brighter, guys. I'm so excited about that.
So we've gone through so many different names. For some reason, Tanner's good when it comes to like fun titles or nicknames or things to come up with. So we've had Tanner time, which we really didn't like. We had to workshop that one. Then we got Indoor Insights with Tanner, which had more of a ring to it. Shout out Schrock. You're out there somewhere. I know you are. But I got one more on here, Tanner's Hot Takes. And so I'm going to introduce that one here today. So I need one hot take from what you think might happen in the following days as we decide a champion on both the men's and women's side. One hot take, one hot prediction.
Yeah. If I had to pick one, that's really tough and could not have prepared for this, dang it.
Had to put you on the spot.
I know. The number one club that I think could mix things up, that I think nobody is expecting to make the run. Let me go with the Phoenix Pulse Football Club. I think what they showed in that first Las Vegas weekend, I talked to Allie Moon about this. She says, yeah, we don't maybe think that that is our style because they were running all up and down and around everybody and looked 10 times faster than other teams out there. And they left that Vegas weekend undefeated 3-0. And I thought, oh, is this the class of the league? And they would then go on to be swept in the season series with Salt Lake City. And Salt Lake City didn't lose a game, and they dominated everybody except for Phoenix. The goal differential in the games between those two was plus 11 to Salt Lake City. Every one of those was tight. Every one of those was fun and exciting. And Chicago is now mortal. We know that Chicago is now beatable. We know that they're dealing with injuries. We know that roster is, it'll be what it'll be at this time of the year sometimes. And they are beatable. And Phoenix is probably that team. If somebody's going to take down the Chicago Mustangs to be able to match up, it's probably Phoenix. I don't want to say I like Phoenix over Chicago, but I do want to say that my hottest take is they're going to play Chicago tougher than anybody. And because that Fort Wayne squad has already showed that you can beat them, they've got a chance. And they've even got a chance to go all the way because of how strongly that they matched up with Salt Lake City.
The only knock on Phoenix, I think, Tanner, I think you'd agree with me as well, is they got too many similar names. Too many Jessicas, too many Jesses, too many Justices. Like, there's
and so that holds back your on-field communications. It really does. Because you say Jess, and so Jessica Hale turns around, and Jessica Raby or Jess Raby is on the bench, and then somebody's coming out of the game, and it's Jess Solanic, and it's like, oh my goodness, what do we do?
Tanner,
this is where nicknames are important. This is where nicknames are vital. Anyways, go ahead, Ryan.
Tanner, real quick before we let you go, we were talking here, and what if you came on the show Monday? Because we got to recap the finals again. I know you're going to be tired. You got a lot of games this weekend. Don't want to, overdo it. But what if you came on the show Monday, just to recap the finals and what happened the whole weekend?
I am willing. I tell you what, we'll see what time I get home on Sunday night because I know that's
why I asked. That's why I asked.
Yeah. I think we can certainly pencil it. All right.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
I'm fascinated. I'm hoping that your predictions come true and that there's all the madness and excitement in the world. Looking forward to watching you guys. Obviously, I won't be in studio for the game, but I'll be watching and paying attention to what you guys got going on. So, congratulations on another successful year. It's been a riot talking to you. I hope we continue to talk to you even after the indoor season is done. We'd love to still have you on the show and chat about whatever, but appreciate your time as always and have some fun this weekend, you guys.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks so much, guys. It's been a pleasure. And one more sleep till Vegas.
Let's do it.
Sorry, Tanner. Thanks, I had to get in there again. I had to get it in there. My bad.
Brooklyn. One more sleep till Brooklyn, or no sleep till Brooklyn. So there you go.
All right, see you, Tanner. All right. We are way late for some reads here. Nate, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to do FC Barcelona. First. We are way late, my guy. It's almost 10 o'clock.
A couple of good interviews, but yes, Barca Academy. I can speed through this one. No, I'm not going to do that. It's proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network and the official academy of FC Barcelona in the United States. It's designed for boys and girls ages 6 to 18. They follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model, same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. And right now you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30 or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca camp, I sing my song Grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca Camp.
the National Soccer Network presents the MLS and WMLIS Finals weekend. 8 teams battling for a championship at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Don't miss the excitement March 28th and 29th as the top indoor soccer teams compete for the title. Watch every match live and exclusively on the National Soccer Network.
And you know where to find it. Coming up tomorrow and the following day, the finals here on the National Soccer Network and Major League Indoor Soccer. Big thanks to Tanner White, as always, for joining us here on Inside the Game as we roll along into hour number 2. Well, I guess we got options as to where we want to go, Ryan. Do we want to
Schrock
stick
is
with
here
soccer
finally,
talk, or...
man. I've been waiting to talk to you, Schrock. I've been
right.
waiting to talk to you. Dude, I feel so bad for you, Schrock. That was BS last night. But again, that's what you get when you play Purdue. You get all these bogus calls in their way in favor of them. We're missing hook and holds on TKR. That's why no one likes Purdue. That's why no one, and they all look Amish.
They do. Yeah,
Sorry.
they're like that. I heard the comparison. They're like that AAU team that you never want to play. They're like the prep kids, the prep AAU kids, which is like they're good, but also they're fraudulent. But then again, I don't know. They just got hot at the right time. But no, Shockey did all right. He was telling me last night, he was like, we were living on borrowed time anyways, which I agree. I mean, I didn't really see Texas
Purdue.
going
They
and
suck.
winning
They're
a
not that good.
championship, but still, they could have gone to the Elite Eight after being a play-in team, which I don't know when the last time a play-in team has gone that deep into the tournament.
2021.
Yeah.
UCLA made the Final Four.
Was it? Oh, it was UCLA, wasn't it?
And then VCU made the Final Four
Good
in
memory.
2011.
Look at you, man. Jeez,
Well, they beat Michigan. That's how I know.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Yeah, that one hurt. But let's get into what way you want to go. You want to stick with soccer talk, or you want to go to all sports? I know we're into hour number 2.
U.S. men's national team's taking on Belgium tomorrow. We're not going to talk about
all right. Heck yeah, let's do it. 3 things we want to see coming up tomorrow against Belgium. We're playing against some of the top European sides. Also got Senegal mixed in there. Ryan, I'll let you take the reins here to start things off. 3 things you want to see from the U.S. men's national team for that one tomorrow.
I swear to God, if I see Tim Ream out there, I'm going to be pissed. That's the number one thing I don't want to. That's something I don't want to see. I don't want to see Tim Ream out there. No, again, I've said it time and time again. I want to see one center back step up that's not named Chris Richards. I think Chris Richards is unbelievable, but I want to see that. And number 2 is I want to see the big boys play with each other. I haven't seen that since, honestly, I think the Japan game, because even that window in like November, I guess they did play. Some of them did play against Australia, but then Pulisic got hurt. And then when they played Uruguay, Uruguay. I think it was Uruguay. Or when they played Paraguay, Uruguay. Yeah, no, it was Uruguay. They didn't have any of them. It was Sebastian Berhalter cooking for whatever reason. I don't know. Which is the same. Which when John talked earlier, that was the game he went to. So jeez, that feels like such a long time ago. But yeah, center back, and I want to see how good the big boys play with each other. And to be honest, I'm really excited to see Weston McKennie, just how well he has played this year. Bummed not to have a Tyler Adams at all, but that is one of the players that I really want to see.
Yep.
And then a player that I've wanted to see for a really long time, and I feel like he always kind of gets the short end of the stick, just the way that Berhalter used to set up these sides. I really want to see Joe Scally. This guy's always been put on islands. It always feels like he is getting the short end of the stick the way that we set up tactically. And I think he deserves to have a fair run at this whole thing. I think Scally's really impressive, and especially if a guy like Serginho Dest is going to be out for potentially at least maybe the start of the World Cup. I don't know exactly, but he's going to be at least out for this group of friendlies and then the next one. So I really want to see how Joe Scally gets on. I think he's an underrated player. He plays just about week in, week out for Borussia Mönchengladbach. Say that one 10 times fast. But no, that guy is – I think he's a baller, man. And I'm not saying he's better than Serginho Dest, but I think he just offers something a little bit more. Dest, I think, is a little bit more of an attacking outside back, wing back, whatever you want to call it. And Scally, I think, is just so good defensively. So I think about that. You can then kind of, again, this is my nerd soccer speak kind of talk in there, is because Anthony Robinson obviously should be on the left. Do not start Max Arfson over Anthony Robinson. Please, just don't do that. Whatever you do, Pod, just don't do that. But Jedi likes to get up the field so much, which means kind of you can then shift the right side of the back line over to just continue to have that back four and still add that extra number in the midfield. But at the same time, I guess if you're running a back five, you can keep both outside backs in the play. So no, I do really want to see Joe Scally. I think this kid's a baller. I've been saying it for quite some time, and glad he's going to finally get a chance here this weekend. And hopefully, or maybe if it's not this weekend, maybe he plays in the midweek against Senegal, which I'm scared to play them, to be honest.
We should break down film when football season is back. That'd be really fun. That's what that felt like right there, with you like picturing the entire pitch and how everything is moving around. You made some good points though. I will say that. Starting off with my three. I mean, my first thing is, can they find that next gear? Because this is a team that has not really been challenged at all up to this point. So that's my biggest question, is can they find that extra gear, that next gear? Yeah, they've played some decent sides. I mean, but like we've talked about, normally in their normal international schedule and in CONCACAF, the best team that they're going to play is Mexico. Maybe Canada's having a decent year, but all of the teams you can say, for the most part, minus Japan, but again, even Japan, they weren't at full strength that night. They're all tier 2 teams, even Uruguay. I mean, we can even say the same thing about them. Like they, did they have their best out there? Were they fully committed? I don't buy the whole they mailed it in before the game, but they probably weren't completely there. These sides that you have coming up, though, I know Belgium isn't the Belgium of old, but they still got some. They still got some products, and it's still Belgium, right? So, can they find that next gear, that first gear that we really haven't seen out of them against these much larger sides? That is something that I'm really interested to see. And again, to that point, my number 2, we're pretty close to the starting 11, like you were talking about, minus obviously Tyler Adams and Serginho Dest. And, Dest's injury issues, I guess, are a little bit more concerning when it comes to those two. I guess there's some really big question marks as to whether or not they're going to be available. But minus those two, pretty much who you have out there is pretty much who you're going to have in the World Cup. You have Pulisic, you have Balogun, you have McKennie, you have all these different guys. So what does that look like when they're finally all together? Because we didn't see it in the Gold Cup. We didn't really see it in any of those international windows leading up to the holidays. And I think that was frustrating because we would see one or two of them, but then we would see, someone like a Berhalter mixed in there or whoever it was that would take their place. Max Arfsten, I think, was a good example. He played a lot of games, had a lot of caps, but we also kind of understood that Max Arfsten's not going to be in that starting 11. So now we get to see all of this. He does. His man's got some flow. I'm not gonna lie about that. But now we get to see all the main components, all the main pillars together on the pitch. So just how do they move together? And have they finally figured out the Mauricio Pochettino way of playing? Because you look back at Copa America, you look back at the Nations League, you look back at the Gold Cup, it was like they just almost seemed uncomfortable in trying to implement the way that Pochettino wanted to play. Have they finally figured it out? Do they finally flow the way we want them to? I guess the other one on that list is, I really want to see what Flo Balogun can do with the U.S. men's national team. Because I think when we looked at our comparisons of, what was the 22 team and what do we have now in terms of depth and options, not having him, I mean, obviously he wasn't playing at the level he is now 4 years ago, but imagine if we had someone like that in that position. It makes me wonder, how does he look with it? Now, obviously we need to set him up and we need to put him in good positions, but even with the U.S. men's national team, he's been great in international games. I really think that he could be exceptional if we set him up well and we put him in good positions. And honestly, I'd love to see at least a goal from Flo in this game against Belgium. Now, final score predictions, I'm not really quite sure. I guess we can get to that. But really, this is the reason why it's exciting is because we are finally starting to see all of the big pieces playing together. Now, I don't know if Belgium is at full strength, to be honest with you. I haven't really looked at who they have. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I guess a little bit's better than not, but
so
they
the midfield, that's going to be a interesting battle. Axel Witsel, what is bro still doing? That dude's old. Kevin De Bruyne. Okay, so here's
they do have De Bruyne, so they still have him.
The midfield matchup is going to be very interesting, and I think forward, that's going to be very interesting as well. Again, depends who starts. But midfield-wise, KDB, I'm gonna do Onana. God, I hate him so much. Yuri Tillmans. That's gonna be Onana. That's gonna be. Gosh, if Onana's gonna be out there, if he plays, ooh, that changes up some things. I think maybe you start Tessman just for physicality purposes because he would bully McKennie and the rest of them. Forward-wise, this is going to be very interesting. Doku's probably going to start. Trossard's probably going to start. And then Romelu Lukaku's still there. So that's going to be a very good test up for our back line or back five, whatever you want to call them. But, yeah, no, that's going to be very interesting to see how that goes on. But, no, this isn't like the Belgium of the old with the Hazards and all those guys and the Nasser Chadleys and all them and prime KDB. But, no, this is going to be I did not look at this before the show. But, no, this is going to be a fun matchup. Whether they play or not, that's to be seen. But this is still going to be still a very good team. They're still better than us. So I want to see how this all shapes up. But going forward, let's see. That's going to be one of the that's going to be a better front three than we will see in our World Cup group. That's going to be a phenomenal battle to see that between how well our backline goes up against Doku, Trossard, Romelu Lukaku. Like that is oof.
And
that's
the area. Fun. That's the area where I was talking about, like maybe us getting exposed in some ways might be good for us, like a soul cleansing, I think is what it called us, because it's really going to put some stress on us. And that's why I was talking about, like, it's so fun to see us actually play against the tier 1 sides. And they got some dudes out there. So
we've played.
By the way,
is
Ethan Hazard going to be as good as his dad was?
Ethan Hazard? He's got a son?
He's like 22. Isn't he playing right now?
Ethan,
unless
Hazard?
they're not related.
Oh, it's his. Oh, I didn't know there was a third one. Okay, I didn't know there was a third brother.
Oh, you didn't even know? Oh, okay.
No, because Eden is.
Because I swore it.
Eden's a dog.
Eden's
Thorgan was very good. He wasn't as good as Eden, but no, I didn't know they had another. I didn't know there was a third one or a fourth one actually. I didn't know that because he's my age, which didn't make sense because. When Eden was in his prime, I was in like middle school, so there is a massive age gap there. He's only 22. There's a Kylian Hazard, but yeah, I did not know that about Ethan Hazard. No, that is not Eden's. It's not Eden's son.
Oh, it's
not
his son.
Brother.
Oh, okay, his brother. Really, his brother? Wow.
Yeah, it's a big age gap. That's why I said there's a big age gap. Because Eden, when he was in his prime, I was in middle school, and he is. Born in 2003, so he's about to turn. He's born in August of 2003, so basically my age. So there's got to be an 8-9 year difference, probably maybe 10. Hazard Eden's probably like 34, maybe like a 12-year difference. Jeez, no, I did not know that. Didn't know that at all. But I didn't know there was another brother. I probably don't know because he's not that good. So, no, I don't know. I just look at this game, and this is going to be such a great test for us. Like all these games upcoming, I think are going to be really good tests for this team, just because of a whole. Yeah. Because I think that can set the table for whether my expectations changing or not. We got Portugal on Tuesday. Yeah. Senegal up in May, and then we have Germany right before we head off on June 6th, right before we go to June 12th. But these are some really good tests. Portugal, I haven't had a chance to look at their March camp. We'll talk about that probably more on Monday about what they do. Monday is going to be jam-packed if you think about it. We'll have the Final Four set up. We'll have MLIS set up. Then we'll have the U.S. men's national team, what they did against Belgium, and then we'll talk about the one upcoming, what we want to see against Portugal. So this is going to be be a fun show on Monday. But no, another thing I want to see against Belgium is how good are we going to be against the counterattack, the transition? Because that was something that has always worried me about this team just playing overall. Like Korea exposed us when we played them. Like they were so good in transition. We weren't picking. South Korea is very good at transition play anyways. And Belgium, they got some fast, twitchy players like a Doku, like a Trossard, and then De Bruyne. He's older, but he can still put it on the money. Any spot, anytime. So, no, this is going to be a very fun matchup against Belgium. Again, I don't know how much I'm going to watch of it because of other things, but no, I will try my best to really kind of have a deep dive on this.
Well, and I didn't even mention these parts of it too, but I mean, how does our goalkeeping look? You know, if Matt Freese is in there, I mean, does he play in the same way that we saw in the Gold Cup during those games? You know, against a much more talented side in Belgium, because he might have to step up and make some big saves, and so that is it could very much be a hole for us. I mean, you know, given that he's had some poor stretches during the MLS season, but he's also had some great stretches with the the national team. And we've mentioned that who really cares what you do on the club level? If you play well with the national team, that's all that matters in this specific scenario. So, and he's been good. And then the other part of it is too, Ryan. I just don't want to see him get pushed around. I think later in those windows, especially like you get to Australia and, you know, they're going after Christian Pulisic and he gets knocked out of the game and they're getting chippy and they're getting in people's faces. And I think Chris Richards was someone who really kind of spearheaded that effort to be more, I don't know, abrasive on the pitch in a way, kind of like stand up for your fellow guys.
That's what
and
Tyler Adams
they've done
is
it
for, but unfortunately he hasn't played in a while.
No,
That's
but
why
they've done it by
captain. I think he's the biggest,
well,
he's the best captain on his team.
Yeah, I'd agree, but they've done it by committee, and so, you know, does that continue against Belgium, or do you let them push you around? You know, so the physicality of this match, I think, is going to tell us a lot too, as to whether or not we match up or we're willing to meet that challenge, because they're going to do everything they can to do that. So,
see, I don't think the heart is that. I still think that is a. I still think we have that just because of, you know, the Paraguay fight and all that fun stuff. I don't think the physicality is going to be too much of a concern because, I mean, outside of the midfield, and then Lukaku, but I still don't know how much of a factor that'll overall play because of, especially with Lukaku, when we have 3 center backs. I hope to God we can contain them. I mean, I hope. But in the midfield, I would say some physicality for sure. But I think most importantly is just, I just think it's how we defend, how our outside backs defend, because those Trossard and Doku, they're tricky. And I would really want to see how we can defend them because, again, the goal is to make a quarterfinals, and you're going to play a team like a Belgium in the round of 16 and I imagine if in the round of 16, maybe even in the round of 32. So this is a very good test for us. I just hope that the boys are up ready for it. I also just don't want to see Poch try anything differently. Like, there's only so few games that we can play leading up to the World Cup. Just don't experiment whatsoever. Please do not experiment with anything. That would be awesome because I need to see this team without experimenting. Do not play Weston McKennie up top. Please do not do that. Keep it at flow. Keep McKennie in the middle. Do not. If you want to play McKennie at striker in the final 15, 20 minutes, sure. But for a majority of this game, play your best players in their best positions. Do not try anything cute. If this was September and you wanted to try something cute, sure, fine with me. But this is March. We're under 80 days to go up until the World Cup starts. Do not try anything cute. Do not pull an Arteta and try and be the smartest guy in the room. Just go out there, play the best that you have, and play them in their proper positions.
Yeah. Really quickly, it is confirmed that Lukaku is playing for them.
He was on the roster.
Okay. Fox reported 2 days ago that apparently he was withdrawing from friendlies and prioritizing his fitness. So
he's always crying.
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be out there. But either way, no, you're right. Everything you said was pretty much right on the money. So yeah, big time. No, not big time implications, but you know, I'll even say this, Ryan, and I know we want to move on to some of our all sports talk. I know we want to go off on Sharon. I actually was looking forward to that yesterday. I know we didn't get to it, but we'll talk about that.
We'll also talk about too long.
We'll talk about that. Well, we'll talk about that first, very quickly, just because I think it's worth mentioning. Maybe if we can get the video. Well, he's very good. Or maybe we can get that video on here. But either way, what I'll say is this: even if we lose convincingly, the knee-jerk reaction, I think, from the American soccer audience is going to be to freak out about it. But on my side of things, even if we do, like I said before, it might not be the worst thing in the world. All I'll say is this: we're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn a lot coming up tomorrow about where we are, where we stand, and what this all looks like. because what we've been waiting to see is finally here. And that's all the big dogs together, again minus Adams and Dest, and going up against another big dog in the soccer world. So what does it teach us? I don't know. Could teach us a bunch of things. So we'll see what happens coming up tomorrow. But let's tell you next about Man City and their soccer camps that are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy to players across the United States. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, these camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code MCNSN30. Again, that's MCNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, usacamps.mancity.com. Back in live and inside the game, 259, final one this week here before we get to probably the most action-packed weekend we've had so far, and then recapping all that coming up on Monday. Let's get into the next part of our conversation here on the show today. I personally wanted to get in on this one because I know we both got a few things to share, and you know what, we're both Michigan men. All right, so I'll put that out there. We're both a part of that big blue wall that we have here in the state of Michigan, both Ryan and myself, at least at times. You know, we are the propaganda machine from time to time when it comes to the University of Michigan. However, today is not that day. Today I would like to do nothing more than to spout off about one Sharon Moore. I'll start off with something little here. I'll let you get your shots in here, Ryan, because I got a few different thoughts, and I've been collecting these thoughts for a while. But we've seen in a lot of interviews, and you and I have chatted about this in passing about players and what they've said about Sharon Moore since Kyle Whittingham has gotten there. And the joke has been around circles of fans and other people of the like that there's finally an adult in the room. That's the belief. That we finally have someone in the room who not only can command the room, but has been around for a little bit, over 2 decades. If if you think that's long enough, he's considered one of the best that's ever done this in that stretch of time. And so to step into the room and to pick up where Sharon Moore left, there's probably a few things they had to clean up, but what has amazed me, and you talking about it, and again, me kind of looking back at some of those interviews, is how much the players are amazed by just the basic things. We're being expected to go to class and get to class on time. Players are being held accountable. Things are being done in an orderly way. And there's discipline. That's the priority. And everything is run. It's a tight ship. And it makes you wonder, what exactly did this program look like under Sharon Moore? And I think I have a close example. I'm not going to name names. It's not worth naming names, but I do know someone who was really close to, oddly enough, the Central Michigan football program once upon a time for a stretch of years. Ryan, do you remember the name? And I know this was before you were there. Do you remember the name John Bonamego by chance?
Yes. He recruited. He had an insane recruiting class his final year before he got fired. Shout out
He
to
did.
Quan Finn. Still probably playing college football.
Great recruiter. Great at, obviously was with the Lions there for a little bit. Someone that Central Michigan brought in and had high expectations with. And you're right, he was a great recruiter. But he had a season where he won one game. And the person in question that I'm mentioning was a part of that football program and was, a part of those teams and was a part of that season. And I remember, kind of talking to him about it, and I could tell that he was disappointed and frustrated and everything else. And I was like, well, what? How does that happen? You guys clearly are not lacking talent. This is not a team that does not have the pieces to, at the very least, be 500, let alone maybe be in the conversation to go win the MAC. So what the hell? From the inside, not from what I can get from the media, not that what I can get from anybody else, from the inside, what is it that is causing this? And he's like, it's easy. He goes, captains get away with what they want to get away with. People don't show up to film sessions on time. People don't show up to weightlifting sessions on time. Practice is slow. It's uncoordinated. It's lazy. It was a culture issue that started with maybe a few bad apples that turned into a cancer. And you know what cancer does? It spreads, and it spreads fast. And before you know it, all of a sudden you're too far deep. You don't know how to claw your way out of that. And what amazes me the most, and it's weird, John Bonamego catching a stray here on Inside the Game, but that's just one example that I can think of. It is amazing then in my mind that Michigan was still able to win 9 games, even when it looked the way that it did. I understand it was a weak schedule, but still, man, like, according to the way the players are talking about Sharon Moore, I'm amazed that they even looked halfway decent. But when it comes to Sharon specifically, how you can, being given that position that you were, to not take it seriously, not prioritize it, to allow yourself to fall into this hole to where you essentially just corroded everything that Jim Harbaugh did and built at that university. It is something that I'm so grateful that we are now in the NIL era and that we can rebuild overnight. Because like I was talking about, if he had done that once upon a time, it would have been starting over again. And so, yeah, is he an idiot? Absolutely. Is he dumb? Absolutely. Can he not control himself? 100%. And so all of those things certainly apply. And at least I feel like I can breathe easy now knowing that there's an adult in the room. At least a little bit easier.
All I got to say about Tyrone is this is the dumbest coach of all time. Don't understand how an OF model is getting DMs from him at halftime against Purdue when Purdue sucks. They are like the worst Big Ten team, I think, last year. I think they had 2 wins. That's what you're doing at halftime, Sharon? That's what you're doing?
Right.
But no, this is, I think, still at the same time, Harbaugh still got to be at fault on this. Jim Harbaugh still has to be at fault on this. You left too late after the national championship. Look, we all know after you won the national championship, you were gone. We all knew that. So you should have let Michigan know, or Michigan's athletic department should have been like, okay, let's go find a coach. And I think Michigan decided let's settle on Sharon Moore. We just won a national championship. We're on the top of the world.
Yeah.
Let's just settle.
It's true.
And let's not kid ourselves that Jim Harbaugh left the cupboards bare as well. I get it. There was 3 first-round draft picks on that team, and then Will Johnson, who, if he wasn't hurt, maybe he was a first-rounder. But they're 2 D tackles, a cornerback, and a tight end. That's not going to win you a ton of football games. It's just not. And I just think Sharon was just in over his head. And just to hear all these coaches and all these players talk about, yeah, man, we can't skip class anymore. The weight room is actually taken very seriously. It's almost like weightlifting and speed training is like the biggest thing to giving you an edge in football. It's weird that kind of matters, Sharon. But no, I just think this guy, Sharon Moore, just kind of wanted the clout so he can do all the extra fun things instead of actually going in there and working hard.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's another comparison that I ain't saying Bonamego, but it's Tyrone Wheatley at Wayne State. It's another example. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
How do you skip days in fall camp as the head coach? How do you miss 2 days a week every single week as the head coach in fall camp? That makes zero sense to me. But Sharon Moore is just an utter dummy that deserves to never coach a single down of organized football ever again. No one should ever hire this guy ever again. He is a snake. He is a slime ball who got carried by Jim Harbaugh's offensive play calling. I do not care about the Ohio State-Penn State game that he had in 2023. Look at the team. The team was loaded all over the place. And guess what you did, Sharon? You ran the football 30 times because you couldn't design anything offensively to go get forward. Also, Carson Barhart was really trash. I will give you that. But this guy was just a dummy that was a product of a stacked team in 2023 and 2022 and 2021. A stacked team that produced that players did not get better over the course of the year. The only reason they went 9-3 in the game against Ohio State meant something is because they played nobody with a pulse all year long. That is the only reason. Sorry, Central Michigan ain't good. That's not an impressive win, even though I love my chips. Nebraska, trash. So happy they lost last night. F Nebraska, dude. They're the biggest crybabies of all time.
Yep. Obnoxious.
I mean, that might have been his most impressive win. And if you look at the 3 games that actually teams had pulses, USC, Oklahoma, and Ohio State, it looked the same exact way every single time. We got dominated up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage. We were playing catch up from the get-go, and there was no point in the game where I sat there and go, okay, we can make a comeback. We can maybe get a few stops here. No, because you made no in-game adjustments. And how in the world can you not talk to your defensive coordinator, your offensive coordinator for an entire season? How can you not have meetings with them in week to discuss that? How can you not do that? You are the dumbest coach of all time. And if you're behind the University of Michigan, it's about damn time we didn't settle with our head football coach, because Sharon Moore was a settle. It was to just keep the guys on the 2023 team to, okay, let's keep Mason Graham, let's keep Kenneth Grant, which still makes the 2024 game still the funniest game of all time. How in the world we won that thing? But about damn time, you guys have hired a couple adults in the room. Dusty May and Kyle Whittingham. Do I think Kyle Whittingham is going to immediately come in here and win a national championship? No, I still think that is a brutal schedule. But you know what I'm happy about, Nate? Is that these players are coming out of here who were on the team last year and go, I really like what's going on. This reminds me of the Harbaugh tenure. Not like Harbaugh was this amazing head coach. He won a national championship. Took him almost like a decade. But the fact that they are going to actually – I'm not going to be pissed off every play next year. There's going to be, okay, this looks like football. This looks like a disciplined team. This looks like this team actually doesn't have their heads cut off. That's what I'm happy about. I don't think they make the playoff next year. I think they lose to Oregon. I think they lose to, I think it's Texas or Oklahoma. I don't know exactly who it is. And I think they'll lose to Ohio State again. But, hey, I'm just happy that there's an adult in the room and it's going to look somewhat decent. The Bryce Underwood conversations is for another day. But, no. This guy's a complete dummy. And thank God we played no one last year and we were able to get 9 wins.
It has been something that I think has plagued Michigan for a long time, and I think it's an ego problem sometimes. And it's we want our own guys. We want a Michigan man. I mean, that has been the biggest knock on the University of Michigan, especially when it comes to hirings. And so I understand why they would promote from within, because we've seen programs do this all the time, right? They want to keep a level of continuity with the players that they do have, so that they can try to continue to build off that. I think about someone like, obviously Marcus Freeman was more of an emergency replacement, and Marcus Freeman is twice the head coach that Sharon Moore is, 4 times, 5 times, 10 times the head coach that Sharon Moore is.
Together could be more of a coach than Sharon Moore, because at least we would care.
That is true. But, it's not the most unheard of thing to promote from within, and I think it is important to mention this other part of it. Sharon Moore was highly regarded by a lot of people. Oddly enough, that John Bonamego staff I was talking about, who else was on that staff?
Sharon was on it. He's a tight ends coach.
Sharon Moore. And he was, from the people that I knew that worked directly with Sharon Moore, they all had glowing reviews about the type of guy he was, about the family man that he was, about how disciplined and his football IQ and all these other things. And it's important to mention this part. It is people who have addictions get very, very good at learning how to hide those addictions. Like, extremely good. Now, if you have a really bad problem, then it becomes undeniable, and obviously people can't help but notice it. But whether it be alcohol, whether it be hard drugs, whether it be what it was for Sharon Moore, it becomes harder to hide that addiction the higher up in society that you go and the more eyeballs that you get on you, right? So
Yeah.
maybe leading all the way up to that point, hiding that addiction was probably a little bit easier. I understand maybe it became harder with the more eyeballs and the more popularity and just the clout that comes with being the head coach at the University of Michigan. But
Yeah.
I refuse to believe that addiction just started when he got to Michigan. He was probably been
I would
dealing
agree
with
with
these
you.
demons his whole life. And so the nicest people that you know oftentimes are dealing with some shit that they're just really good at hiding. They're just really good at not letting it see the light of day. So it is something to keep in mind that all of what I'm sure Jim Harbaugh saw and everybody else saw was here's a guy that knows his stuff, high IQ, good family guy, has a kid, has a wife, all of these things that make someone look like, hey, this is an established professional. I know he's only 39 or 38 or whatever he was when we gave him the head coaching job,
Yeah, he was
but
young.
it's like if he turns out to be a good head coach, I mean, that's someone you probably have for a decade. I mean, he could be there for forever if he's a good recruiter and whatever it is. So it's hard for me to blame Jim Harbaugh. Now, again, the way he left, the suddenness of how he left, it was messy because of the cheating scandal and everything. But even if we're going to call Sharon a bridge head coach, even if it was just like, hey, a couple of years and then we'll find someone, even if that was the plan, I don't think I don't know, and I can't say this for certain, but I would certainly hope that Jim Harbaugh and the staff did not know about his sexcapades before that decision was made. I would hope that was the case. If not, then yeah, you know what? I'll put a lot more on the shoulders of Jimbo and everybody else involved. But yeah, it's not that Sharon Moore didn't develop this addiction when he came to Michigan. He's probably been dealing with this for forever.
Two things.
Would be
Why
my
do you always
guess.
call Jim Harbaugh Jimbo?
I don't know. People call him Jimbo. That's like his nickname. I don't know. It's an abbreviated. Not that I know the guy, but I don't know.
Of saying I hope Harbaugh didn't know, he could have known. I mean, there's lots of things he didn't know when
He
it's
could
like,
have.
okay, it's like okay,
He could
man,
have.
like there's
Yeah.
there's no way you didn't know, man. Like you're right then and there. Which again, you could be right on that. He could not have known because maybe it was okay. Well, it's an offensive coordinator. He's doing his own thing. I'm doing a head coach. I'm doing my own thing. I talk to whatever. But no, I don't know. And it's weird, Nate, that I just did a quick Google search real quick while you were talking there. Weird that to a potential the most successful coach and maybe second could be the most successful coach in Michigan basketball history were outside hires. Anyway, Jen Beeline, Dusty May. Anyway, but I still believe Whittingham won't be here longer than 4 years. I still believe that. I still think he is going to be somewhat of a bridge head coach. I know you don't like me saying that, but I believe that there's no way a dude that's over 65 years old is going to be like he's the main
old
guy.
Yeah,
I
old.
think the reason I think Whittingham, who is Utah did him dirty, man. Like all he wanted was this, and that, and they're like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. So yeah, no, that definitely helps. I think his motivation and everything. But I think he's bringing over a good staff. I think Jay Hill is going to be a good defensive coordinator, and Jason Beck, a good offensive coordinator. He's done really good work with all of his quarterbacks everywhere. I think that they are going to. It's going to look better. It's going to look like good football. It's going to be a disciplined team. But I still think in a couple of years, Michigan's going to go out and hire their guy, like the head coach. I don't know if it's going to be like a Jim Harbaugh splash like it was back in 2014, 2015, that type of time. But this guy,
Yeah.
I like what I'm hearing promising. I just like the fact that this guy just like does not really say much, doesn't really care. Like he's very like, but when he does talk, he's pretty honest. Like yesterday, he's like, yeah, there's gonna be like next year, there's gonna be like rosters that are worth over $50 million. Like Texas Tech is gonna spend over $50 million on the roster. Like I think that's pretty cool. Like, and the NCAA doesn't like people saying that. So again, we could get hit with another scandal here just because the Michigan coaches like to kind of speak their own language. But Nate, I think the biggest takeaway from all of this is the fact that whole athletic department from like 2021 to like 2020 or 2025, like the Juwans, the Jim Harbaughs, there's a national championship in there, but like all the extra off the field stuff, off the court stuff, I mean, even on the court stuff, that's finally gone. Like, I think we're now, you know what, let's close the chapter of our most successful football tenure of all time and post World War II, and let's get this thing rolling. So I'm hype about it, but again, no, please, Michigan, never settle for a head coach ever again like you did Sharon.
Yeah, I mean, Ward Manuel is just...
That guy's got pictures, man. He's got pictures. There's no way in hell this guy still has a job. Any other... Exactly, dude. He's got some dirt on something that's going to expose everything. And it's like, there's no way you can go from having, the Matt Weiss scandal in there, the Stallion scandal, hiring Jawan, and then you've got the whole Sharon Moore saga in there. Then the hockey coach was in there. And it's like, how do you still have a job, man? How do you still have a job?
Conspiracy theories coming up on episode 260 on Inside the Game.
I don't know what my conspiracy theory would be, but all I know is this guy's got photos or some dirt on something. That's all I know.
Yep, some emails somewhere. Yeah, okay. I agree. I would agree with you on that. Let's take a break here. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about Tigers baseball and Kevin McGonigal. Is he God? I don't know. He might be. Also, I always like saying this after game number 1 because we're Tigers fans. So we think, it's one game, guys. All right, let's calm down a little bit. But we'll talk more about the Tigers coming up on the other side, as well as Michigan State in the Sweet 16. I'm going to be calling a game tonight while Michigan is playing. So maybe I'll call 2 games at one time. Who knows? We're going to have some fun. That's coming up next here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill that came like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Opening day number 2 for the true baseball fans out there, the ones showing up to games across the country today. We see you. All right. Yesterday was opening day. Today is true opening day for all the real ones out there. Just kidding. But some stadiums are probably not going to be as full today. But it is game day number 2 here in Major League Baseball of 160 plus. But yesterday was an exciting one for the Tigers. Got off to quite the start. Ryan, your buddy, your favorite player of all time, Tarek Skubal, 6 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts in that one for the Tigers. Went 6 innings on 74 pitches. That's pretty
Did he
damn
go
good.
any more?
That's efficient. And no, he didn't, because he didn't need to, Ryan. See,
Interesting.
that's how that works,
Interesting.
But the bet, here's why. Wait for this one. We had someone who could hit the ball, and his name was Kevin McGonigal.
God.
4 hits in that game. God. He's one of only 6 players in Major League Baseball history to have 4 hits in their debut. Did that yesterday for the Tigers. A couple of McDoubles mixed in there. He was, again, 4 for 5, 2 runs, 2 RBIs in that one. He is now hitting a cool 800 through game number 1. Also, Dylan Dingler getting a home run in that one. Torque had an RBI. Yes. Well, we got a few of them in our system, so you might learn a few more of them. It's funny. One of our catchers on the Caps is Archer Brookman, great dude, but he's Canadian and he's an Ohio State fan, so he's had a rough handful of years here. The last, not a fan, he went to Ohio State, beg your pardon, graduated from there, but he's had a rough couple of years for sure. Parker Meadows also with a pair of RBIs in that game as well. So, all things considered, a little rough with the bullpen, got themselves into a bases loaded jam, but were able to work their way out of it. It's a great first game, guys. I thought obviously Tarek looked like Tarek. He did everything we expected him to do. I thought that the pen was good and being able to shut things down there late. I think getting run support was huge. I think Dingler's bat has come a long way. We talked about when he was in the minor leagues. Well, defense is his calling card. He's not really going to be, not that he wouldn't be much of a hitter, but he wouldn't, be a true impact hitter. I don't know if yesterday's an indication of what's coming up this year. I'm looking forward to seeing what we have out of him. Hopefully Parker Meadows can stay healthy because he looked good as well. Used to call him the baby giraffe in minor league baseball. He's not a baby giraffe anymore. He's a full grown giraffe. That dude is, he's put on some pounds. So excited to see what Parker can do. When it comes to Kevin McGonigal,
he's God. Just say it.
It's been one game. It's been one. Okay. But
I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks that way. I'm glad you got a brain, Nate.
But. No, just because I've seen this story on repeat. I think we won opening day yesterday. I think we won opening day 2 years ago.
We always win opening day, even when we were trash.
It's the same thing every year, right? It's the Detroit Classic. This year is our year. Although the Lions winning their first game is a little bit more impactful than the Tigers winning or losing their first game. It doesn't really, you got 160 plus. There's a lot more to come. So with all that said, I just want to qualify it by saying it's one game. But then the second part of this is I want to say, I told you so, right? To everybody that's out there. Now, I'm not saying I said anything that was breaking news, all right? The guy was number 1 on a lot of lists for a reason. It's not like I was telling you any sort of new information that you've ever heard before. You're like, well, yeah, no, duh. He's the truth. But he is, and I'll just reiterate it, he is the best hitting prospect that I've ever seen. And yesterday, what happened yesterday, albeit the volume at which it happened maybe shocked me a little bit. The fact that it happened did not shock me at all. And what's interesting is you and I said this yesterday in our conversation about the Tigers. We need a headliner on offense. We need a guy, a leader to step up. And we need that dude. Yeah, exactly. And I think we got that dude with the pitching staff. I think Scooble is that dude. And I think everybody else has followed suit. Now, where does it come from on the offensive side? And with how Kevin McGonigal is mentally, he's so cold and calculated. It almost seems like he's detached, but in a great way. It's almost like the Quinn Hughes type thing, like where it's like you got to snap your fingers in front of his face to be like, hey, what's up? Like you hear, but he just sees ghosts, and the ghosts tell him to swing the bat as hard as he humanly can in a split second and drive it into right field and snag a couple of doubles and drive in some runs. So he is everything that he's cracked up to be. Detroit fans, I know we have PTSD. I get it, okay? Riley, Torque, all these guys that were forced up way too early, that really kind of went through the meat grinder in Major League Baseball because maybe they weren't necessarily ready or they didn't get the same development treatment that Scott Harris is giving his players. He's the truth, guys, and he's a Harris product, right? He is a Harris guy that we drafted,
he's
developed,
not an Avila
scouted.
Product? You're telling me that?
No. Yes, thank God. Thank God. I know, right? Yeah.
The rebuild is over.
Come on.
Then we proceed to suck for 3 more years. Attaboy,
Yeah,
Al.
yeah. This is one game, right? So like, we'll pump the brakes. We'll chill out a little bit, but I do think it is a microcosm of what Kevin McGonigal is going to be for this organization in years to come. I think he's that good. And by the way, I do want to work this in. I didn't want to make it the focus of this episode because it's not.
He did.
But
He really did.
Yesterday was arguably probably one of the biggest moments of this podcast since we started it last year.
I would say it's the biggest moment.
It's probably the biggest moment. Yeah, here, just over 250 episodes. It started off with JT last summer yelling about a handball in USA, Mexico. We got like 50,000 views or whatever it was on that video. And then
got Nate ticked off about Fox Pro in Boston and saying the game's in Boston.
Yeah, it's in Boston, but it's not in Boston. And apparently they got 150,000 people to be like, hey, getting involved in that one. We got Ryan coming out with a few bangers. We've had some moments, but never, ever in my life did I expect to be on the same video as number one, 97.1, which 97.1 is synonymous with sports in the state of Michigan. I mean, you should know 97.1, even if you're not on the east side of the state, but also the MLB draft, all these other people that were mixed in that video, and then it was us inside the game. Couple of clips of me talking about Kevin McGonigal in there. The Tigers releasing that hype video before the start of the season. Little old inside the game, man, making their way onto the big stage. And, it's crazy to think, and as a broadcaster, I know this intrinsically because I've run into it only a million times in my career. You just don't know who's listening. Sometimes you truly don't know who's listening. You don't know who's paying attention. I remember the first time I heard that Scott Harris watches our broadcasts for the Whitecaps. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, my guy pays attention. I didn't know that he was really all that, but it makes sense. But sometimes you don't know who's listening. And so that's, shouts to us. I don't like to pat myself on the back very, very often, but good on us. And I think we're on our way up. And obviously we appreciate all you guys that continue to come back and watch. And it's fun, man. It's fun to see the fruits of your labor paying off. And obviously it seems like we were right. Both you and I were right on Kevin McGonigal. So it's cool to see.
So obviously a couple things to clean up here before we get into some real quick. We probably got to go tourney rapid fire, honestly. So
yeah, sorry, I talked
the
there
McGonigal
for a while.
thing is sick. I'm glad that if you actually go back in the video, you see the Sports Nation logo. Tigers, why didn't you follow us? You put as much as that going into, you put that much effort going into your hype video, and you just couldn't hit the plus. Just hit the plus, Detroit. It's not that hard. Anyway, I thought it was really cool. I was like, dude, you're lying. And then obviously I did a lot of on my phone driving on the way home, just saying, don't do that, kid. Don't do that. Number two, I think this team has got a lot of versatility because, Javi can play center field. You could have McGonigal at short. Colt Keith can be in there somewhere, maybe third, McKinstry, whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think Kevin McGonigal's God yet. I thought it was an unbelievable opening day performance. But again, one game. Baseball teams got to reinvent themselves 3-4 times throughout the season. It's 162 damn games. We blew a 15.5 game lead last year. Enough of that, okay? Kevin McGonigal was great. All right? He was unbelievable. Better than I expected. And I'm hyped for what his career looks like. But no, it's just one game. Let's get into the Sweet 16, Elite 8, whatever.
Yeah, let's do it.
Schrock, I haven't seen you in a while in the chat, but man, you got screwed yesterday. TKR, screw them. Also, Nate, I don't know if you saw this. Did you watch Nebraska-Iowa at all last night?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, the four men on the court. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking
the
about
disclaimer on the don't text and drive. LOL. Yeah, my bad. Don't text and drive, kids.
yeah,
no.
not having enough guys on the court. Yeah,
this is. I love that so much because of one thing. The Big Ten coaches voted Fred Hoiberg of Coach of the Year, not Dusty May, even though everyone else thought he was Coach of the Year, not Fred Hoiberg. And I know we talked about Barstool Tate, and I think he had a good point. Do they actually dislike Dusty May because of that sole reason? But I'm glad this whole 4 players on the court, I've never seen it happen before in the game of basketball. It couldn't have happened to a better group of people. Sam Hoiberg, flopper. This kid's not tough. He flops all over the place. Price Sanford, bit of a bitch. Fred Hoiberg's got to complain every 2 seconds about fouls. We play this attractive brand of basketball, and it's like, we just get fouled. Like, this league has got to stop. No, Fred, your team sucks. How about that? You beat nobody with a pulse all year, and the only reason you beat Michigan State, which congrats, but nothing to fear. That's an unbelievable Instagram post, by the way, by them after beating Michigan State. But no, it couldn't have happened to a better group of people. Screw them. The other games, they were just blowouts. Arizona looks like the real deal. I still think they win the national championship. But Purdue, man. Schrock, I feel so bad because I dislike Purdue so much. I hate Oscar Clough. I hate Braden Smith. I hate Fletcher Lawyer. I hate that whole program. Why? Because they're supposed to, this is our year. This is our year. We're going to finally do it. We're going to finally do it. And the only time they ever make it far is when they have to play teams that shouldn't have made it that far in the tournament. It's the only reason they ever make it far, which means they are going to get obliterated by Arizona. Saturday. I forget what day it is. But by the way, let's go Blue. Please win tonight. It's going to describe it that this whole game is around. If they win, I will go out for my friend's birthday in downtown in Baltimore tonight. If they don't, I'm staying inside.
All right. Hey, man. I mean, high stakes. Yeah, no, I agree. This is their best opportunity to win a national championship since
13?
Since their last one. This is, I mean,
you don't think 13 was a good chance to win 13? It?
18
13 I didn't really believe, to be
it.
honest with you, Nate. I didn't believe 18 because they played a lot of cupcakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I get a horns up in solidarity to our disdain of Purdue? Hell yeah, you can. F Purdue. God, hate that.
Heck yeah, Schrock. Sorry, man. Sorry, I had to go down like that. It's a good run for a playing team, though.
Just so you know. It's like, God,
he texted me actually while we were gaming, and I was like, my guy's locked into that. Well, he was half locked into the game, and we were playing Fortnite at the same time. So I'm like out here in Benghazi trying to handle business.
Fortnite during
and he's
the biggest game of the year, man. You can't be doing that. Sorry, I keep interrupting. My bad.
He's a good friend, man. No, this is their best chance to win it. Yeah, since 13, or I mean, arguably, if you want to go back further, maybe the Fab Five. I mean, that's in terms of overall talent. That's probably the closest we've been since that point. So,
sorry, I didn't want to give PTSD to every Michigan fan right there.
Oh,
sorry.
Man, what? You had to do that? Jesus.
Hey, I wasn't born for it, so
that's
I
bad
could care
juju.
less.
It's bad juju. You can't put that out there. But anyways, rapid fire, your take on Michigan State on the other side.
Before we do that, I think St. John's beats Duke tonight and they go to the Final Four. Anyway,
I can see
Titanic theme music plays. Yeah, that's that I did see that video. I'm sorry, Schrock. I'm sorry, man. Michigan State. You know what? I think they beat UConn. I really do. I think they beat UConn. UConn is I think their offense isn't that good. I really don't. And Michigan State, again, as much as I hate them, I still think they run a pretty efficient offense. I think they're pretty good at it. I think as much as I think Jeremy Fears is more of a flopper than Sam Hoiberg, I think the kid's pretty good. I think their bigs are better. I mean, it's just Juwan Howard, prospect, Terrace Reed down there for UConn. But no, Carson Cooper, Jackson Kohler, if those guys are on, I think they could go really far. If Cohen Carr does anything remotely basketball-like instead of just dunking all the time and being a dumb basketball player, they could go pretty far as well. But again, Nate, I really like St. John's. I think that defense is unbelievable, and especially without Caleb Foster, I think they beat Duke.
Yeah,
and I think MSU wins.
MSU, Tom Izzo, if you want to get over the hump and if you want to be considered someone it's quote Mr. March and really get that monkey off your back, that piano weight off your shoulders, you got to beat the other guy who has proven himself not once but multiple times in Dan Hurley in winning national championships. I mean, that's a guy that's actually won multiple national titles. So 2 national titles back to back, weren't they?
Yeah.
Or were they spaced? Yeah.
They're
so
back-to-back.
I mean, yeah, that's the guy you got to get past. That's the hump you got to get over. But just seeing that matchup between those two nut jobs, those old school coaches will be really entertaining.
Yeah,
for sure.
Real quick.
Well, let's
real quick before we get to question of the day. I don't know how delusional Yaxel Lenneborg is because he says he wasn't recruited by Alabama, and Dusty May was like, "Yeah, dude, you were recruited by Alabama." And Nate Oates was like, "Yeah, we tried to recruit him." So. Again, Yaxel, if you have to get into the state of delusion to get yourself ready for the game, I'm all for it. But if you weren't on my team, I'd be like, this guy's the most delusional person there is outside of Michigan State fans. Anyway, Salt Athletic and official spot. Schrock, by the way, if you're still in there, I don't know if you're gonna like this question of the day. But to be fair, I don't even know what team you root for technically. So, question of the day presented by Salt Athletic and official sponsors here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15, save 15% off that number one smell proof bag. The 100% works. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit saltathletic.com today. Anyway, question of the day. Does Big Ten run sports? 3 national championships in football straight. And then we look at basketball. There's 3 teams in the Elite Eight with a potential to add 2 more tonight. And there will be a minimum of 1 Big Ten team in the Final Four just because Iowa and Illinois play each other. But does the Big Ten run sports?
This is a huge season when it comes to 2 different sports outside of football. I would say football, yes, right now, absolutely. Baseball, no, there will never be a way the Big Ten will ever own anything in baseball. However,
except CMU is going to run it. Shout out Jake Sable. He's got obliterated by MSU the other day, 15-8, I think.
I don't know how long it's been since a Big Ten team has won the national championship in hockey, but we have
Michigan
a couple
State.
of teams that obviously
07, 09, somewhere in
07.
that time frame.
Yeah. So Michigan State, if we win one this year, I think we own hockey because I think Michigan has been the most consistently the best team in the country outside of MSU and Western Michigan. But they're not in the Big Ten, obviously, in the country. So if they can get one in hockey, I think we can certainly say yes, because I think overall they've been really good. In basketball, it's the same exact thing. Depth, talent, teams, all those things, with 25% or nearly 25% of the teams that went to the Sweet 16 being Big Ten teams, you have to get that national title, because if you don't, we know how these conversations go when we compare conferences. It always comes back to national titles, because you can't use conference titles, obviously, because that's within the conference. So there is only one thing that we can compare to the rest. Now, the SEC has always been top heavy, so I always give pushback to those people who are like, oh, the SEC ran. I'm like, no, Alabama and Georgia ran football for a while, and LSU mixed in there once in a while. But outside of that, like, let's not, Ole Miss has not done anything outside of what they did last year. So it's always been top heavy, but the Big Ten has always been top heavy. But you have to get the national championship. You have to. You absolutely have to, because if let's say we have a Big Ten team go, but we fall short, Big Ten team doesn't end up winning it, or UConn wins it or something. No, I still don't think we can say that. Not in basketball.
I think the Big Ten can run sports if they win the national championship in basketball, because let's be honest, basketball and football are the only men's basketball and football are the only things that truly matter.
They're the most popular
in college athletics. It's the only thing that truly matters. Like Schrock says, I would look at soccer, baseball, softball, and other non-football basketball sports. I would say in that general of a question, no, but those 2 major sports, yes. And I would agree with you, Schrock. I would 100% agree with you, but in the grand scheme of things, the only sports that matter is men's basketball and football in college. That's the only thing that
money
matters.
Wise, yeah, absolutely.
And football, yes, they dominate. They got 3 of the last national champions, and guess what? They're all 3 different teams. And one of the coaches doesn't coach here anymore, which is crazy to think about. But if I think this is still going to be the most Big Ten basketball finish of all time. I think they are going to get like 3. I think they're going to get 2 big Final Four teams in. I think it's going to be Illinois. I think Michigan's going to get in, and then St. John's and Arizona, but Arizona's going to win it all. It's going to be the most big. You know what? Screw it. They're going to get 3 Big Ten teams in, and they are going to lose. And it's going to be Arizona who defeats Illinois in the national championship game. Michigan gets in, Michigan State gets in, Illinois gets in, Arizona, and it's going to be Arizona to win the national championship. It's going to be the most Big Ten thing of all time. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Like, I forgot who I was listening to, but they're like, this is going to be the most Big Ten finish of all time. They're going to get all these teams in, and they're not going to win a national championship. I just think Arizona is just a step above everyone else. And, no.
Yeah.
It's scary.
We're always so deep, but we beat up on each other. But the best single team typically does not come out of the Big Ten. No, I could certainly say that. And then in future conversations, we're going to be like, whoa, we had 4 out of the 3 or 3 out of the 4 teams in the Final Four that year. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. in the grand scheme. But anyways, what a week for us on Inside the Game. Obviously, huge news when it comes to the USL today from Jonathan Turner. Appreciate him stopping in. Again, you're going to see him here in about 5 seconds anyways. So that's fun saying talk to you later. It's like, all right, I'll talk to you in like 10 minutes. But anyways.
We look forward to chat with you soon, John. Boy,
I'm
he's
right
literally
here.
5 feet away from me. Heck, you might even
But
pull up in the middle
USL
of the stream
news
again, like last night, like yesterday.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, always. And then obviously the Tigers video and everything as it pertains to that. And we got more coming up on the way. We thank all of you.
How does it
for dropping
feel?
in.
How does it feel to know that you listened to a podcast that ended up on a Tigers hype video? How does that feel, Shrock?
My guy was the one that sent it to me yesterday.
Did he really?
I thought it was, I thought it was one of my play-by-play clips. I'm like, oh, they have a home run call I had. Cool. Still cool. But I was like, no, I didn't know it was our freaking podcast. I'm like, what?
That video, for everyone out
anyways.
there in listener land, I posted that video on March 4th.
Yes, they've been paying attention. At least they saw something that caught their eye. But anyways, 260 is going to be a riot. We're looking forward to it. Inside the Game as well as Sports Nation TV. Check us out on social media. And until 260, peace.
Peace.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real